How do you keep track of the world's largest population of mantas? Despite their size, they can so easily slip out of sight and into the empty expanse of the ocean. One of our team's core research techniques involves photo IDing manta rays in order to monitor their populations.
Manta rays face an existential threat. Together, let's create a healthy, balanced ecosystem for these amazing creatures, for our oceans and, of course, for our planet.
With over 5,000 individual manta rays known across the Maldives, it's lucky there's an easy way to uniquely identify them.
Each manta ray is born with a unique set of markings on the underside. Much like a human fingerprint, researchers can track and follow movements of individuals using these unique spot patterns.
It's not just an individual's identity that we record. A single, good quality image of a manta ray can provide information about its gender, maturity, injuries, and associated hitchhikers. Our database of sightings has both geographical and temporal dimensions to it. Over 15 years of data collection, we can start to track movements and migrations of individuals, identifying key habitats and migratory routes. We can also monitor injury healing rates, fecundity, and changes in sexual maturity. It's no easy task though. Some 20% of manta rays in the Maldives have only ever been sighted once.
Every sighting our team collects fills in another section of an ever-growing puzzle. And this expedition to the far north of the Maldives will go a long way to filling in a section of this puzzle that we know very little about. You don't have to be a manta researcher or a scientist to collect the data that we need. And in fact, we very much rely on the cooperation of tourists and divers all over the world to provide data to us. Around 25% of our sightings in Maldives are actually collected by citizen scientists.
When we're out in the field, we search common manta sites from the boat. In recent years, though, drone technology has allowed us to more quickly and effectively survey larger areas. When we find mantas, they're often feeding on the surface. The team slides into the water and swims over to where the manta rays are. The most important image to collect is the photo of the spot pattern between the gill slits. It's these spot patterns that we compare with a database of known individuals.
Without an ID image, any subsequent data we collect on the individual is somewhat meaningless. Diving, and snorkeling to some extent, have their limitations. We can only ever be in one place, and dives only last around an hour. To maximise the amount of survey time at manta sites, we deploy remote underwater video systems. These are either a simple GoPro in video mode or our eyes on the reef time-lapse rigs.
So this is one of our Eyes on the Reef cameras. It's essentially a GoPro and a series of power banks, batteries inside, and a large SD card. The housing we can deploy on the reef, and it takes a photo once every minute. It's programmed to turn on at sunrise, take a photo every minute, and then turn off at sunset to save battery overnight. At the moment, we can get about 5 to 6 days of deployment from it.
It's always quite exciting downloading the videos and photos from these camera deployments. We have no idea what we might have caught over the previous hours and days.
This trip, we managed to deploy the Eyes on the Reef unit a couple of times, and we managed to get 12 days of time-lapse photography, which resulted in about 35 IDs of manta rays. Taking a photo once a minute has its downsides though. You have to get a bit lucky to get an ideable shot in frame. Traveling up to these most northern regions of the Maldives, we expected to have a high percentage of new individuals. Interestingly for us though, a decent number of the manta rays we encountered on this expedition were already in our database, which indicates we actually have a pretty decent documentation of the population of manta rays across the Maldives. To be able to add so many sightings of individuals from regions we rarely get to visit has been invaluable. But don't forget, you can also get involved by submitting your manta ID photos from your dives and travels by visiting our website.